Howdy! My name is Larry, and today I'm going to be demonstrating 5 levels of pranks that you can do to your friends in Minecraft, ranging all the way from innocent, ha ha ha, to you are the villain. Let's get right into it. Now, normally with a video like this, I might do these pranks to a friend of mine, so you can see how a person might react, and so forth. But at the moment, I don't have any friends that I want them to never want to speak to me again. So, we're just going to demonstrate on Timmy's house here, because I don't know him, so. By the way, guys, I forgot to mention one little detail. After I finish showing you each prank, I'm going to rate them on a scale from 1 to 5 in 3 different categories. The first is how evil it is, the second is how tedious it is to build, and the third is how tedious it is to get rid of, to take care of. With that in mind, let's just jump into the first one, which is a little something I like to call, what's that sound? What sound? That sound! I don't hear anything. The first prank is going to be very simple, and it involves digging a hole underneath your base about this big. This is about, I think it's 5 by 6 or something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly this big, but what you're going to be doing is you're going to be making a machine to make them go insane. How you do this is by grabbing a few resources together, and those resources will be redstone dust, hopper, sticky piston, red block of redstone, 2 comparators, a bell or 2, and an assortment of random blocks. Now, these resources are going to be all that you need to make what's called an etho hopper clock, and don't worry, it is redstone, but it's so easy that even I, a lad of very small intellect when it comes to Minecraft redstone, can do this machine flawlessly. So what you're going to do first is you're going to put 2 hoppers pointing into each other, and you can do that by placing a block with a hopper into that block, and then just replace that block with another hopper, so that their 2 prongs are going right into each other, just like so, and you can test it to see if it works by putting a block into it, and if it goes back and forth, then you know that you did it correctly. Once you do that, you're going to want to place a comparator facing away, oops, I forgot I was in creative, facing away from the hoppers, so the 2 prongs are right up against the back of it, and you're going to do that on both sides, just like so. You're not going to click them to turn them on, you're going to leave them off, and then what you're going to do is going to place a solid block on the other side of both of those comparators with a redstone dust on top. Next, what you're going to do is going to take your 2 sticky pistons and place 1 above each of the comparators facing inward over the hoppers. You can do that by placing on the side of the redstone like I did. And now this is where your block of redstone comes in. You're going to put it on either one of these hoppers. It doesn't matter which one, but as long as it's not on both, because then it won't be able to push. So you just need one of them. Now, this is the functioning hopper clock. This is all it takes. Now it's just a matter of putting some blocks in. I'm going to take, like, I don't know, 16, a very small amount, just so you can see that it works. And how this is going to work is every time all the items filter through to the other side, to the other hopper, the comparator will recognize that and trigger the redstone, pushing the redstone block to the other side, and the redstone block, I guess it locks the hopper or something, so the hopper goes, and the items go from one hopper, and then the comparator and they put in the redstone, and it goes, and the pistons, I don't know what I'm talking about. But it works! Now you're going to hook up a bell to it, and you can do it so it's one-sided or two-sided. What I mean by that is you can place a block here with the redstone dust on it, and then on the side of that block, let's see if I can do that, place a bell here. And now, whenever the redstone block is pushed over to here, you can hear that the bell rings. So if I was to put, say, I don't know, 30 blocks in here. When the 30 blocks finish going over from this hopper to the other hopper, this piston will trigger, pushing the redstone dust in front of that redstone dust, and that will trigger the bell. Just like so. Now, you can also put a lot more than just 16 blocks in it. I'm not exactly sure how the math works exactly, but you can just do experiment putting a little bit more blocks. You could do a stack, maybe 2 stacks, so it goes off every couple minutes. You don't want it to go off too often, or else they'll be able to track down where the sound is coming from. But you don't want to do it too sporadically, because then they will barely notice it. You want it to be just often enough where they're losing their minds, but not often enough where they can actually find where it's located. Hence, putting it underground. Now, another thing you could do is you could put another one right here. So every time it goes through, that's just going to double how often the bell rings. Otherwise, it will only ring when it's going that way. So this is the fully completed bell machine that is been appropriately dubbed. What's that sound? What sound? That sound? I don't hear anything. But you can actually make a slight modification to it where instead of it doing the bells, you can actually pull out a note block with your choice of a couple of different mob heads. Now, if you do the zombie head on it, every time the redstone block triggers it, it'll make a little zombie sound. I don't know if you can hear, that's really quiet. That's a little bit more subtle. You could also do a piglin. I think that could be pretty silly. Look at the ears! I didn't know they did that. That's hilarious. If you want to go a little bit less subtly, you can go for a dragon head. And, they're probably going to catch on to that one pretty quickly. I usually stick to the bell. You can do the piglin, the zombie, or the dragon head. It's hard to get your hands on any of those, so the bell is a lot easier. So I usually do the bell. But that is it. You can have your choice of any of those as well. Just giving you options here. Now, if I was going to rate this machine on a scale of 1 to 5 in evilness, I would say it's a 1. Maybe 1.5 out of 5. Because, sure, if you're really good at gaslighting, they might lose their minds. But it's, all in all, it's pretty harmless prank. I don't think you're going to lose any. You're certainly not going to lose any friends over this. So all in all, I give it a 1.5 out of 5 on the evil scale. Secondly is how hard it is to make. That's also getting it a 1.5 out of 5. Because it would be a 1, but the reason I added the 0.5 is because you need to find a village for the bells. Other than that, it's very easy to get your hands on everything. The hardest thing would be the sticky pistons, which you need a slime ball for, and the bells, which you need a village to find. But other than that, all of these ingredients are very, very friendly and easy to get, so I would say it's a 1.5 out of 5 to build. Look how simple this thing is. On a scale of how easy it is to get rid of, I'm going to give it a 1.5 because, sure, it might be a little bit hard to find, but once you do find it, you need to break one block, and the whole machine stops working entirely. So, not all that hard to get rid of. With that, let's move on to prank number 2, which I like to call, what are you doing up there? What do you mean, you idiot, you put me up here? I don't know what you're talking about. Now this next prank is going to involve the nether. And if your friend ever goes to the nether, you probably shouldn't even do it, because it's there's no point. But if they do, this one's a good one. It's pretty cheeky, and they might get mad at you for it, but you can always help them to make up for it. But it's really funny, in my opinion. What you're going to need is to go over to the nether portal, and before you enter it, you're going to need a couple of things. First, you're going to need a ladder, which I don't know where they are. There they are. And then you're going to need an ender pearl. Maybe a few of them. And then you're also going to need enough obsidian to make a portal, as well as something to light a portal. Upon reaching the nether, which honestly I'm probably doing Timmy a favor with this absolutely horrific nether spawn. What even is this? What? This is wild. Anyways, what you're gonna want to do, first things first, mark the coordinates of the pillar, just like so, and then you're going to break it. Break the portal completely. Once you break the portal, you're going to fly directly up and dig through the wall until you reach the nether ceiling, which I already have, actually. And then you're going to want to stand on, with the bedrock right up against your head, the block you're going to be want to stand on is Y level 124. So the block that's above you is going to be Y level 26. Then what you're going to do is you're going to place a ladder right here going up into the block, and this is where the ender pearls are gonna come in handy. I'm going to do this bit in creative mode so you can see how it works. What you did, that's creative. I'm gonna do this in survival mode so you can see that this works flawlessly. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk directly up into this ladder, and you're gonna jump into it, and then throw a pearl into the corner, just like so. And continue holding the space bar, and you should just jump straight through the bedrock. And now you are on top of the nether roof with nothing except for mushrooms in sight for miles around. Now, I hope you brought enough obsidian to make a portal and something to light it with, because if not, you're stuck up here forever. So you're gonna be very, very careful. You brought enough obsidian to make a portal, which is at least 10, and a flint and steel. Once you're on the nether roof, you're going to want to make a portal, just like so. And then once you finish making the portal, you're going to light it, walk through the portal, and then it should take you out of little Timmy's portal. Just like so. Now, because you put the other portal on the roof in the same coordinates as the other portal, when you go through this portal again, it's not going to make another portal. It's going to send you out of that portal because it's in the same spot, and then they're going to spawn in the nether roof with no way to actually get into the nether, because bedrock, you can't break it, you can't blow it up. So they're going to be stuck on the nether roof with nowhere to go but straight. Now, if this prank sounds pretty evil, just wait, it gets much worse. But first, I'm going to rate this on a scale of 1 to 5 in the 3 categories. First being evilness, I would give this I would say it's a good 3 out of 5 on the evil scale. Could be worse, but it's also very annoying because you have to do a glitch to break through the bedrock so you can get back down into the overworld. Or, alternatively, you could just move your portal like 20, 30 blocks in the overworld, go through the portal, and it should spawn you down below in the actual nether. It's not actually that hard to fix it, which brings me to the second rating, how hard it is to fix. Honestly, this is like a 1 out of 5. You just make a new portal. Sometimes it can be annoying if you made a fancy new portal and you have to move the whole fancy build, but you just move a portal. It's not that hard. So genuinely 1 out of 5 in the fixing scale. And making it was very easy. Almost easier, in fact, than my other one. So I would give this also 1 out of 5 on the how to build, on the very easy to build. Now, moving on to prank number 3, which is a little prank I like to call, Why is my house upside down? This is little Timmy's build. Oh, wait, sorry. This is little Timmy's build. And honestly, there's not much to say with this prank. You just take their build, their base, and make it block for block upside down. And it's very funny to look at, honestly. It's imagine they just log in and see their house is upside down. Very simple prank, very self-explanatory. Now, to rate this, I would give it a 3 out of 5 on the evil scale. It's of course it depends on how big the base is, but generally it's a 2 to a 3 on the scale of 5 on the evil scale, because you have to completely rebuild the base again. Which brings me over to how hard it is to fix. Again, it's a 2 to 3 on a scale of 5, because you have to rebuild the entire base block for block again after you already built it. And to do the prank, you also have to break the block and break the base and build the base block for block. So again, it's gonna be a 2 to 3 across the board on a scale of 5, depending on how big the base is. Now, before I jump into pranks 4 and 5, which is where things are going to get very evil and less funny, I will say, if you're still here and enjoying the video, consider subscribing, leaving a like. It helps a lot. And I'm on a mission to live off of YouTube. But first things first, let's get to 200 subscribers. If you guys can get me to 200 subscribers by the end of the year, I'll make a 200 subscriber special, which you guys can decide going to any one of my videos and commenting, you should do something, 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 so-and-so for 200 subscriber special. Just do that, and I'll probably do it. Now, let's become villains with prank number 4, which I like to call which roughly translates to, oh my goodness, why is there so much water? Little Timmy rebuilt his base in a completely different spot as before because he got tired of me messing around with it. Fortunately for him, I found it, so now it's time to move on to prank number 4, which is going to be a lot more devious than the previous 2, or previous 3, so I will give you a warning that if you do this, you might genuinely start a war between you and your victim. And so how this is going to work is you're going to need at least 2 buckets of water. And you're going to need many dirt. Probably like 5 or 6 stacks of blocks. Something like that. But you're going to need a lot. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go to the center of their base. You're going to build up, and you're not going to stop building up until you literally can't. You're going to go all the way up to build height limit, which is about 312. Once you reach the build height, which is 319, not 312, which I'm pretty sure I'm said like a blithering idiot, you're going to make a platform. It doesn't matter how big it is, it'll depend on how big their base is. But basically what you're going to do is make a big platform in the sky that's relatively big, not huge. Maybe, how much is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll do 7 blocks on all sides. Now that you've made a big old platform in the sky, it is time to pull out your water. Now, if you're in survival, which I would assume you are, you're going to want to make a little square just like so. And then put a water here, and a water here to make an infinite water source in the 2 corners. Doesn't matter which 2 corners, but as long as they are opposite each other. Then you're going to grab your bucket of water, and you're just going to spam it around the whole thing. In order to do this, why am I lagging? 18 FPS. Look around me. Nothing is loaded in. How am I lagging? There's nothing. It's just sky. It's 27 dirt blocks. Okay, that's a lot more than 27 dirt blocks, but you get the point. Once you get your big old platform built up into the sky, you're going to go around it and make a ring. Now, I probably should mention this does not have to be specifically dirt. You can use any block you want with this. I just use dirt because it's very easy to get, although I'm creative, so I could have made like netherite blocks or something. but you want to do a block that's very easy to get large quantities of. Now, once you have this little dish right here, you're going to go over to one corner and place a water here. And then a water here. And then every other block you're going to place a water, and then that will make the sources in between turn into water. And now the goal here, I can just spam because I'm in creative, but the goal is to make this a completely solid, so you want this whole thing filled up with 100% water source blocks. Now, this is where the prank unleashes. What you're going to do. My game just, what the crap? My game just crashed. What you're going to do is, you're going to break the blocks. You're gonna break the edge, let the water run over the side of it, just like so. And you could leave it here. You could leave it like this. This would be very, very acceptable as a prank. But this is level 4 of the devious level. I want this to be extremely devious. So what we're going to do is we're going to go inside and we're actually going to remove all of these blocks that the water is on top of. Now once you have this giant, unfathomably tall column of water flooding their base, you're going to go on inside and you're going to go to anywhere that doesn't have water, spam it around, like, oop, missed a spot here, put some water there, don't have any water there, let's fill that up. And you're just going to go around, and any spot that doesn't have water in it, you're just going to put water. So that their entire base is completely and 100% flooded, even the inside. Now this is a very, 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 very evil prank, okay? It is not something that I would suggest doing to anybody, because they will, I don't think anybody's gonna quite appreciate this. So, what I would do, if I was you, is not this, okay? I have one air pocket right here with the doors, but other than that, it is just complete mayhem. This is not a prank that I would suggest doing to a fellow human being. This is a prank that is not even considered funny, but rather hilarious. I mean, evil, evil, evil. To rate this on the evil scale, I would say it's a 4 out of 5. It is extraordinarily mean. I mean, you're covering their base in water with a pillar that goes up to world height limit. That's not exactly going to be easy to get rid of. It's extremely evil because they have to swim around, especially if they don't have respiration or depth strider. They're going to be slowly hobbling around their base and suffocating, drowning in the water. Easy to get rid of? No. No, it is not easy to get rid of. That's also a 4 out of 5 because you have to grab a bunch of blocks, build all the way up to Y level 319, and then place water on every single source block on this giant column, which is many. It's many. Look how big this... Oh, you can't see anymore. Look how big this sucker is. It's not all that hard to do, actually. So I would give it a 3 out of 5 to actually pull off. But you just need a lot of blocks, and you need water. Probably a new friend once you finish it, because they're probably not going to speak to you ever again. But speaking of never going to talk to you ever again, if you really want to completely end your relationship with somebody via Minecraft, this next prank is just for you. This is Little Timmy's base, and this is prank number 5. Okay, so it's not much of a prank, it's more a act of war? Yeah, maybe don't do this one. Maybe don't do this one. It's 5 out of 5 evil scale. 5 out of 5 to fix. And honestly, 3 out of 5 to do, just because it's super fun. Oh, but no, seriously, don't do this. Don't blow up your, don't do that. It's not funny. Okay, so it's a little bit funny. It's a little funny. That does not mean you should go and make a giant crater and explode a nuclear bomb where your friend's base, let's be honest, used to be. So that is prank, well, it's not really a prank, but that was prank number 5. What I like to call, don't you touch my boat again, with regards, US military. If you want to do any of these pranks in these videos to your friends, please do not do pranks 4 and 5. They are almost entirely for entertainment purposes and not actually suggestions as pranks you can do. I don't actually want you to blow up or flood your friend's base, and if you do, well, they're not going to be your friend anymore, so I guess that takes care of that problem. That was prank, well, I say prank, more like war crime, number 5. And this is the outro for the video. If you made it this far, thank you, it means a lot. Consider subscribing, liking, all that. I'll see you guys in my next video, and remember, I'm not saying you should do these pranks. That you shouldn't. I'm just saying you can do these pranks.